Welcome to Everything Casual, bringing you original football casual videos from the golden era of the 80s and 90s, right up to current day. Football away day stories and historic clashes between football firms. Subscribe so you don't miss out. We upload videos every week. If you are new to the channel, then welcome to Everything Casual. If you are a returning viewer, thank you for your support. It's greatly appreciated. Let's jump straight into today's video. The European Championships had arrived, and with them came not only the dreams of nations, but also the darker shadow of organised football violence. For England, Euro 2016 carried the weight of history. For Wales, it was their first major tournament since the year 1958. Tens of thousands of fans crossed the channel, filled with pride, song and hope. But in Marseille, in Lille and in Lens, the story became more than just football. It became about running battles, tear gas, hospital wards, and, in one of the strangest twists of all, England and Wales lads, standing side by side against a common enemy, Marseille, Friday the 10th of June, 2 days before England faced Russia. The Old Port was heaving. Thousands of England fans packed into bars, singing, drinking, revelling. The police were already on edge. Their memories of Euro 98, when Marseille had erupted in similar violence, were still fresh. By nightfall, bottles were flying, and tear gas was filling the streets. Saturday brought escalation. Black-clad Russian groups swept into the Old Port. Eyewitnesses later described gum shields, MMA gloves, telescopic batons, and tactics more like a military unit than a drunken mob. One English supporter recalled, "They came in waves, 10, 20 men at a time, hit hard, then melt away." Within minutes, running battles broke out across the cobbled streets. Fans chased, fans beaten unconscious, French police overstretched, struggling to contain the chaos. French prosecutors said 150 well-trained Russian football hooligans caused the violence at Saturday evening's match with England in Marseille, one of several incidents to mar the opening days of the Euro 2016 Championship. The Russians instigated the violence, said prosecutor Bryce Robin, as they charged the English section of the stadium, attacking fans and ripping down flags as trophies after the final whistle. These people were well prepared for ultra-rapid, ultra-violent action. These are extremely well-trained people, Mr. Robin told a news conference. Some 35 people were injured in clashes in and outside the stadium, most of them English. 4 are in a serious condition, including one English fan with brain injuries, after Russians beat him with iron bars. Following the terrorist attacks in Paris and Brussels, the French authorities are on high alert over security threats. But it has been the behaviour of some fans that has caused alarm. With Russia playing their next fixture on Wednesday in Lille, just 40 kilometres from where England meet Wales the following day, there are fears of further disturbances. Igor Lebedev, an MP and member of the Russian Football Union Executive Committee, tweeted, "I don't see anything wrong with the fans fighting. Quite the opposite. Well done, our lads. Keep it up." Mr. Lebedev, whose father is the ultra-nationalist politician Vladimir Zhirinovsky, added in comments to television, "I don't think our fans did anything over the top, and you need to understand that, 9 times out of 10, football supporters come to a game to fight, and that's normal." Russian media universally blamed England fans for the trouble. England supporters had been involved in earlier clashes with police in central Marseille, who used tear gas to disperse them. 2 England fans were on Monday given prison sentences for taking part in the rioting in Marseille, the first convictions of the tournament. A group of people, some wearing football shirts, could be heard chanting, "Where England and Wales F off Russia," as police and security staff tried to calm the situation. One England fan wearing a Rooney shirt was seen being led away in handcuffs by the police. The fans were heard once again singing songs about the IRA and German bombers. A group of 5 fans wearing Russian flags and shirts attempted to walk over to England fans outside the Trois Brasseurs pub in Lille. They were removed by police to the doors of the nearby Lille-Flanders railway station, where officers were seen checking their identities. One fan had his Achilles tendons cut by Russian hooligans to prevent him running away after being beaten. Police inside the Stade Velodrome feared another Heysel, as England fans risked being crushed as they fled a Russian hooligan charge after the match. Eurostar trains returning to St Pancras resembled hospital trains, with one fan disembarking with a broken bottle still embedded in his neck. Police are seeking banning orders against more than 100 England fans involved in disorder, with more than 40 already prosecuted. The Russians came with serious intent to carry out barbaric violence. They were highly organised, very effective, and we saw football hooliganism on a different level. On the day of the game, while French police were dealing with a large group of England supporters throwing bottles and chairs, a group of around 300 Russians, sober and well organised, lured England fans into an attack in a piazza near the Old Port. Chief Superintendent Neil said the scene resembled a battlefield. "I couldn't believe what I was seeing," he said. "It was like a herd of wildebeest, rampaging through tables and chairs, fights going off, people being kicked on the ground by groups of 5 or 6 men. The severity and barbarity of it was quite shocking. There was CS smoke drifting everywhere, tables and chairs lying around, people with blood pouring out of their heads. It was like nothing we had seen before. On the Saturday we had over 100 walking wounded, 30 seriously, who had been admitted to hospital, and 5, who the consultant told my officers were likely to prove fatal that evening." I stood in Marseille as the senior officer, believing we were going to get 5 fatalities that night. We might have 5 murders on our hands. It was unprecedented, so we activated the counter-terrorism plan. Luckily, no one was killed. However, 2 fans, Andrew Bach from Portsmouth and Stuart Gray from Newcastle, suffered life-changing injuries. The officers' accounts raise questions about the safety of England fans should the team qualify for the 2018 World Cup in Russia. They play their latest qualifying match in Slovenia this evening. Police held their first planning meeting for the tournament with Foreign Office officials earlier this month, and, despite the violence they witnessed in Marseille, they are confident the Russian authorities will control the groups that caused such chaos. Assistant Chief Constable Mark Roberts, the national lead for football policing, said they would seek banning orders against England fans identified as having engaged in disorder, and would only advise supporters to travel if they receive assurances from the Russian authorities that the tournament will be safe. What we saw in Marseille is that there are groups of Russian supporters who are where we were in the 1980s, or perhaps beyond that. So there is that threat, he said. But I've got confidence in the Russian police to deal with this. They manage it in their domestic football, though there are some instances. We will not give advice to the fans that I am not happy to stand behind. So if we identify risks, we will tell the supporters so they can make informed decisions. And then came the stadium itself. England versus Russia, Stade Velodrome. Inside the ground, a flare lit in the Russian end. At full time, with the score 1-1, Russian supporters surged across the segregation barriers, charging English fans. Terraces became a panic, families scrambling, fans leaping barriers, police slow to react. The world's cameras caught it all. Images of bloodied England fans filled front pages by dawn. The Marseille prosecutor later called it planned, prepared and professional. As the dust settled, England moved north, Wales too. Russia's next match would be in Lille against Slovakia. England were set to play Wales just down the road in Lens. It meant tens of thousands of supporters from all 3 nations converging on a tiny stretch of northern France. On the trains, in the fan zones, In the town squares, Wales and England fans mingled. At first, it was carnival. Songs swapped back and forth. Please Don't Take Me Home answered by Men of Harlech. A shared pride, rare camaraderie. But when the Russians arrived, that unity took on a sharper edge. June 15th, Lille. After Russia lost 2-1 to Slovakia, the streets flared again. Russian ultras, emboldened by Marseille, looked for new targets. But this time, they faced not just scattered England followers, but groups of English and Welsh fans together. Phone footage shows flags of St. George and Wide Drag Goch side by side, lines of police separating them from advancing Russians, flares arcing across the square, tear gas drifting, 36 arrests that night, dozens injured, French riot squads charged, clearing the Grand Place with batons and water cannons. For a few hours, England and Wales stood shoulder to shoulder, a truce born of circumstance. The following day, Lens hosted the match itself, England versus Wales. On the pitch, Daniel Sturridge's injury time winner broke Welsh hearts. But off the pitch, there was no mass riot. Fans were boisterous, yes, but for the most part good-natured. Trouble lingered instead in Lille, where police still patrolled nervously. The fallout was swift. Back in the UK, arrests meant banning orders. England fans with prior records found their names back in court. And in hospital, one England supporter fought for his life after being kicked in the head during the Old Port violence. In the months that followed, Russia's hooligans were unrepentant. In interviews and documentaries, some boasted of training camps, fitness drills, fight choreography. One said plainly, "We came to fight." We won BBC's Panorama broadcast their faces, their words. To many, it was chilling. To others, it confirmed what Marseille fans had felt. This was no coincidence. For Wales, the tournament became remembered more for Gareth Bale's free kicks, Hal Robson-Kanu's turn, and the march to the semi-finals. For England, the humiliation of Iceland. But in the margins, in the headlines, in the grainy phone clips uploaded to YouTube, the story of violence remained. So, what do we make of it all? Did England and Wales truly team up? In a sense, yes. In Lille, flags flew together, fans stood in the same line. But it was temporary, a matter of convenience, not a brotherhood, but a moment. For most of the travelling supporters, Euro 2016 was about football, friendship and song. But for a hardened minority, it was a battlefield. And in Marseille, in Lille, in Lens, that battlefield scarred lives, tarnished reputations, and reminded Europe that hooliganism had not gone away. Today, with tighter policing, surveillance and international cooperation, tournaments try to prevent such scenes repeating. Yet, the lessons of 2016 still matter. Because football has always been two stories. One of passion, colour and pride, and one of violence, rivalry and scars. Marseille's Old Port, Lille's Grand Place, Lens's quiet streets. For some, they were stages of glory. For others, they were war zones. Euro 2016 will be remembered for Cristiano Ronaldo's tears, for Iceland's thunderclap, for Wales's dream run, but also for those nights when England and Wales stood together against Russia. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I really appreciate your support. The best way to support this channel and see more videos like this is to hit subscribe, hit like, and leave us a comment. See you next time. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you subscribe, you will be notified when we release a new video. It could be your firm we make a video about next, so don't miss out and hit the subscribe button. You can find me on Facebook or email me if you have a good story to tell. See you next time.